The Ford Mustang isn't just a car, it's a legend. Born in the 60s, it became America's dream on wheels, a symbol of freedom, rebellion, and raw power. But behind the roar of its engine lies a darker truth. For decades, this muscle car has carried a bloody crash reputation, earning nicknames like Coffin on Wheels and Crowd Killer. Today, we're diving deep into the story of how the Mustang became both a hero and a villain on America's roads. In the spring of 1964, America fell in love at first sight. The Ford Mustang roared onto the scene and instantly rewrote the rules of what a car could mean to ordinary people. Priced within reach of the average worker, but carrying the look and soul of a sports car, it was a dream that rolled on four wheels. It wasn't just a machine, it was freedom packaged in steel, chrome, and horsepower. People lined up at dealerships, crowds swarmed to get a glimpse. In its very first year, Ford sold over 400,000 Mustangs, a record-shattering achievement. Newspapers called it a pony car, and soon the Mustang wasn't just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. Hollywood picked it up, showing Steve McQueen's green Mustang in the film Bullitt, a car chase that etched itself into cinema history. Teens wanted it, soldiers returning home wanted it, and even families wanted it. But for the first time, a car wasn't just transportation, it was personality. But with great speed comes danger. The Mustang was light, fast, and often in the hands of drivers who had never tasted that kind of power. Highways of America began to echo with the growl of Mustangs pushing beyond their limits. And with those echoes came the first whispers, stories of crashes, mangled metal, lives cut short. Yet none of that slowed the craze. If anything, the danger made the Mustang more irresistible. By the late 1960s, the car had become a battlefield for horsepower wars. Ford wanted to dominate, and every year the Mustang grew meaner, faster, more aggressive. The Shelby GT350 and GT500 turned into monsters on the road, pushing raw power into the hands of regular drivers. Some called it liberation, others called it reckless. The Mustang had earned its crown as America's muscle car, but behind the glory was a darker truth. Insurance companies quietly began noting how often this beauty turned into a killer. A chilling reputation started to form. Newspapers described scenes of Mustangs wrapped around telephone poles, overturned on highways, and left smoking in ditches. Young drivers, filled with thrill and pride, often pushed too far. Police officers began recognizing a familiar sight: skid marks, shattered glass, and that unmistakable galloping horse emblem lying broken on the ground. Yet, strangely enough, the crashes did not hurt the Mustang's fame, it fed it. People whispered that owning one was like dancing with danger, and danger always sells. Car clubs popped up, showing off speed on backroads. Underground street races grew, where Mustangs were both heroes and villains. You either left people speechless with your roar, or you ended up another cautionary tale. But Ford wasn't ready to slow down. They saw the Mustang not just as a car, but as America's identity on wheels. It was the dream of open highways, rebellious youth, and roaring engines. Ford pushed out new models, each promising more adrenaline, more thrill. For every crash report, there were 10 advertisements showing the Mustang tearing across landscapes like a wild horse, untamed and unstoppable. And so the legend grew. Parents warned their kids about Mustangs, but kids saved up for them anyway. Some saw it as a death machine, others as the ultimate proof of freedom. The Mustang had become more than a car, it was now a symbol. But symbols have power, and power always comes with a cost. As the 1970s approached, the world was about to change. Gas prices would skyrocket, laws would tighten, and critics would begin questioning if America's beloved muscle car had blood on its tires. But before that, the Mustang had one more era of pure, unfiltered glory. An era that would push its reputation into legend, and also stain it forever with the scars of countless crashes. The sound of the Mustang wasn't just a roar anymore. To some, it was also a warning. By the early 1970s, the Mustang was no longer just a car parked in driveways. It was a character in the American story. Kids plastered posters on their walls, teenagers dreamed of their first Mustang, and racing tracks echoed with its thunder. But away from the glossy ads and shiny showroom floors, a darker narrative was being written on the highways of America. The reputation of the Mustang as a people's muscle car carried with it something Ford never wanted to advertise: its rising body count. Police reports from coast to coast started to reveal a troubling pattern. Too many high-speed accidents involved a Mustang. Officers would shake their heads at yet another wreck, the galloping horse badge lying in twisted metal. Families mourned, newspapers reported, and whispers grew louder. The Mustang wasn't just America's dream car. It was also being called a nightmare on wheels. The reason wasn't just the car itself. The Mustang was powerful, yes, but it was also affordable. That meant young, inexperienced drivers could suddenly own a machine capable of speeds they weren't trained to handle. On a Friday night, teenagers with bravado would push their cars to the limit, turning quiet suburban streets into drag strips. The screech of tires, the smell of burning rubber, and the flash of chrome often ended in tragedy. For every Mustang that crossed a finish line, another ended up upside down, its roar silenced forever. Insurance companies took notice. Premiums for Mustang owners shot up, and whispers of the Mustang tax spread among drivers. Why? Because statistics showed the car was far too often linked with serious accidents. But the irony was cruel. The more dangerous the car's reputation became, the more people wanted one. The Mustang became a rebel's badge of honor, a statement that you weren't afraid of risk. Owning one was like saying, "I'll tame the beast." But not everyone succeeded. In small towns, stories circulated like ghost tales. A Mustang lost control near a bridge, plunging into the river below. Another flew off the highway, leaving nothing but skid marks and shattered glass. Some drivers survived, but many didn't. The Mustang became tied to the word bloody, not because of its design flaws alone, but because it magnified human flaws, recklessness, pride, and the hunger for speed. Ford, meanwhile, tried to balance the scales. They introduced safer models, smaller engines during the oil crisis, and versions that focused more on style than pure muscle. But enthusiasts didn't want restraint. They wanted power, and power was always the Mustang's biggest selling point. Every time Ford tried to soften the beast, critics complained it had lost its soul. The Mustang was meant to roar, not whisper. And when it roared, accidents followed. The media fed on the stories. Local papers wrote about deadly crashes with sensational headlines. Teen killed in Mustang wreck, muscle car claims another life, horse runs wild on highway. Each headline pushed the reputation deeper into the public's mind. For some, it was a warning. For others, it was gasoline on the fire of desire. Young drivers lined up anyway, desperate to prove they could handle what so many others couldn't. The Mustang's role in pop culture added to the mix. Movies and TV shows glorified the car as untouchable, unbeatable, and unstoppable. Chase scenes made it look like the hero, a car that could defy physics and always come out on top. But the streets were not Hollywood sets. Real crashes didn't have stunt coordinators or second takes. And for every fan who cheered in a theater, there was a family somewhere burying a loved one lost to the same machine. By the mid-70s, the nickname was spreading. The Mustang was being called the coffin on wheels. Critics accused Ford of selling danger wrapped in beauty, but Mustang owners pushed back. They claimed it wasn't the car, it was the driver. A machine doesn't crash on its own, it only goes where the human behind the wheel commands it. That debate fueled endless arguments, but one fact could not be denied. The Mustang had left a bloody trail across America. And yet the story didn't end. Despite the warnings, despite the stigma, the Mustang continued to sell. The legend only grew. By the time the 1980s rolled in, the Mustang was no longer just a car, it was a survivor. Through oil crises, criticism, and crashes, it held its crown as the muscle car that refused to die. But its reputation as a dangerous beauty stuck like a scar. Even today, when someone sees a Mustang crash video online, the comments often echo the same thought. Of course, it's always the Mustang. The wild horse was running free, but freedom, as America was learning, always had a price. The Mustang had survived the turbulent decades. Gas shortages, government regulations, rival muscle cars, even critics who said its time was over, it outlived them all. Through the 80s and 90s, it transformed but never vanished. Ford knew one truth: America would never let the Mustang die. Every new generation of drivers wanted that same thrill, that same untamed spirit, even if the world around them had changed. But no matter how much the Mustang evolved, one thing followed it like a shadow: the crashes. Car enthusiasts joke today that if you see a Mustang at a car meet, it's only a matter of time before it veers into a crowd. Memes flood the internet showing Mustangs losing control at car shows, sliding into sidewalks, spinning out during burnouts. Some laugh, some shake their heads, but behind the humor lies a dark echo of its past. The Mustang still carries its bloody reputation. Why? Part of the answer lies in the car's DNA. A Mustang is powerful, often rear-wheel drive, built to put raw energy onto the pavement. But that same design makes it unforgiving. One wrong move, one heavy foot on the gas, and the car can swing out of control. For seasoned drivers, it's a thrill to tame. For the inexperienced, it's a trap waiting to snap. And because the Mustang has always been affordable, young drivers continue to buy it. History repeats itself. Statistics don't lie. Insurance studies, crash reports, and traffic data all point in the same direction. The Mustang has higher accident rates compared to many other cars. Its image as a crowd killer may be exaggerated online, but it didn't come from thin air. Decades of wrecks have built a reputation that sticks, no matter how much Ford works to polish it. Yet here's the paradox. The reputation hasn't destroyed the Mustang, it has immortalized it. A safe car doesn't make headlines, doesn't get whispered about, doesn't spark fear and admiration at the same time. The Mustang's danger has become part of its myth. To drive one is to join a brotherhood of risk-takers, people who embrace the thrill knowing the razor's edge they stand on. And Ford plays into it. Modern Mustangs come loaded with technology, traction control, stability systems, even driving modes to prevent loss of control. But at their core, they're still beasts. The newest Shelby GT500 boasts over 700 horsepower, a number so high it borders on insanity. Ford knows exactly what it's selling, not just transportation, but temptation. A machine that dares you to push too far. The Mustang's story, then, is not just about a car, it's about human nature. Why do we chase danger? Why do we fall in love with something that has left so much wreckage behind? The answer is simple: because risk is exciting, because freedom feels bigger when it comes with a chance of loss. The Mustang embodies the American spirit, brave, rebellious, and sometimes reckless. That spirit has made it a hero and a villain, a crown jewel and a cursed name. Today, when you see a Mustang roaring past on the highway, you don't just see a car. You see 60 years of history, triumph, and tragedy packed under one hood. You see the dreams of teenagers in the 60s, the heartbreak of families who lost loved ones, the thrill of racers who tamed the beast, and the laughter of internet memes mocking the crashes. You see a legacy built not just on horsepower, but on blood, fire, and steel. And maybe that's why the Mustang endures. Other cars have come and gone, some faster, some safer, some smarter, but few carry a story as heavy, as thrilling, as haunting. The Mustang's bloody crash reputation doesn't push people away, it pulls them closer. Because deep down, people don't just want a car, they want a legend. And legends are never clean. Legends are written in scars. The Ford Mustang is America's muscle car, the wild horse that refuses to be tamed. Loved, feared, mocked, and worshipped, it carries its crown proudly, even if it drips with the weight of its reputation. And the next time you hear that thunder on the road, ask yourself one question. Is it the sound of freedom or the sound of fate catching up? The Ford Mustang has outlasted rivals, scandals, and generations of change. It's more than steel and horsepower, it's a piece of American identity, a legend that refuses to die. Loved, feared, mocked, and worshipped, it still carries its bloody reputation like a scar. And maybe that's the secret. Legends aren't perfect, they're powerful because they're unforgettable. The Mustang is proof that sometimes the road to immortality is paved not just with victories, but with crashes, blood, and stories that never fade.